Episode 2, Life Skills. We open with Spider-Man swinging through the city. It's been a few days since the last episode, and Peter's been searching for whoever was behind those thugs in the previous episode, but he can't seem to find anyone, and this is starting to puzzle Peter. Peter's also still dealing with the fallout of everyone thinking that he killed Norman Osborn. This is greatly affecting him, as Peter thinks that Spider-Man isn't a criminal, he's a hero. Why do they see him as a murderer? But then Peter's alarm rings. He's late for class. He should really get back into Midtown High on his second day. He still wonders why Gwen and Harry aren't talking to him, but he should really get to school. Peter puts his mask in his back pocket and then heads off. But right after Spider-Man leaves, the same thug from the previous episode speaks into a walkie-talkie, telling the new big man that they have a problem. Spider-Man keeps interfering with their operations, and he's getting too close. The big man is angry. He says that he wants Spider-Man off the map. They need a real supervillain to take him down, sort of like what Tombstone did when he was still running things. The man asks what he had in mind, and the big man says to send in the right man for the job. Enter Mac Gargan. We learn that Gargan was a common criminal in his early days, and after being busted by Spider-Man, he tried to get an undercover job at Oscorp, but that didn't work either. He has a vendetta against Spider-Man, and the big man knows this, telling Gargan he can help him, make him into a supervillain that can finally take Spider-Man down, and Gargan grins. We cut to Peter at Midtown High, and in this class he will be learning about criminology from Captain Stacy, but about life skills. How to solve a specific crime, you have to manage your way in the real world. Peter will be taking all this in, and Gwen will be in class next to him. However, she still isn't talking to him, and this bothers him. Harry isn't actually in class today, and Professor Warren comes in and tells everyone that Harry was excused for the entire week because he's still dealing with the fallout of his father's death, which makes sense to Peter. We cut to after school, where Peter will go out and be Spider-Man for a bit, helping people, just trying to clear his head and thinking about everything happening. It's a lot for Peter, as we can see at the start of the season. How the people just won't accept that he's not a villain, he's a hero. Why can't they just see that? When suddenly Spider-Man gets reports of something causing trouble downtown. It seems to resemble a sort of scorpion. Spider-Man swings there to see what's going on. He saves a bunch of people, but they start booing at him once again. This frustrates him. Spider-Man asks the people if they saw what was heading there. They say they're not going to tell him anything. Peter sighs. He swings inside the building, asking if anyone's there or if they need any help. Suddenly, a large green tail hits him in the face, and standing before him is the Scorpion. He tells Spider-Man he's going to pay for ruining his big score. Spider-Man says that he's never seen him in his life, and the Scorpion lunges at him as they engage in battle. I imagine this taking the 3 minutes of the episode, as Spider-Man has to avoid the Scorpion's tail. Spider-Man says that if he's got a problem with him, he can just tell him. The Scorpion smirks and squirts a sort of green substance at him from his tail, making Peter start to hallucinate a bit. He can't see the Scorpion. The Scorpion uses it to his advantage, managing to get his upper hand on Peter in the fight. The Scorpion then says that if it was up to him, he would finish Spider-Man off now, but his boss wants him to suffer, and the Scorpion escapes into the night. Peter tries to fight off the toxin, but it's impossible. It's like every bad worry, every bad thought is throbbing around in his head, and Peter can't get it out. He yells out in pain as it becomes a lot for him to fight this off. Peter then tells himself he's just got to get it out. Whatever's going on with him, he can't beat it by just sitting around. He web swings to get to the Parker household. Maybe there's materials for an antidote there. Aunt May's at feast, so he can go get the materials there. Peter is on his way when suddenly he hears the Scorpion's voice in his head, saying this will never work. Peter says this isn't real, but the Scorpion laughs before it disappears. Peter knows he's gonna have to do something, and fast, or he won't be able to beat this toxin. Peter then heads home and goes upstairs, knowing that since Aunt May isn't home, he might be able to get a vial or something that he can use to cure himself. Peter starts looking through the file cabinets, but he can barely find anything. It doesn't really feel like whatever he gets is going to work, until Peter eventually finds a syringe and mixes something with it. He injects it himself, but then passes out on the bed, knowing he's going to take some time to recover. We then get a scene with Gwen at school. She's tried messaging Peter, but he hasn't shown up for any of his classes. Gwen is starting to get worried and wonders if this is her fault. Maybe she shouldn't have always been ducking him in these episodes. Maybe she should have been more friendly. We don't know why Gwen hasn't been talking to Peter, but maybe she should have done it sooner. We cut back to Peter waking up in his bed. He feels better now. The toxin's out. He's got to figure out who did this and where the scorpion is. Peter will be doing some typing on the computer and sees that facial recognition has picked up the man behind it as Mac Gargan. Peter knows that he's going to get an absence for school, but that's the least of his worries now. Whoever this Gargan guy is, he has to be behind this, and Peter has to bring him in. Peter knows that he's going to need some rest now, so he goes on the bed. Aunt May comes in, seeing all the bruises on Peter, and she's worried. She holds Peter's forehead, asking what happened. Peter doesn't want to make May worry. He knows that if he's such a good kid with school and everything, if he gets an excused absence, what's going to happen to her? Will it hurt her? But he can't lie. Peter tells May that he was trying to track down the scorpion guy for his photography stuff, and he got hurt doing it. May gets worried, saying that she's not sure if Peter should be doing this anymore. Peter assures her that he'll be fine. He's used to this, and May nods. Peter says he's going back to bed. And May says that maybe Peter could help out at Feast. It's really great there, and he should really meet her boss, Martin Lee. He's so friendly. Peter says sure, he'll think about it. He sees how worried May looks. First Ben, now this. But Peter needs to just get some rest. He limps into bed before lying down on the covers. We cut to the next school day where Peter is in the hallways and he bumps into Gwen. Gwen says that she heard about what happened to him and asks if he's alright. Peter says he's fine, but Gwen seems worried. She tells Peter that she should have been talking to him more, and she'll tell him after class why she's been avoiding him. Peter nods, thinks that'll be okay. As he's getting home, he sees on the news the Scorpion is tearing up the city looking for Spider-Man and is stopping at nothing. Peter gets some bandages from a closet and puts it on his leg before swinging out to confront the Scorpion. Spider-Man quickly gets in there before kicking him in the face. It's a tough battle, but Peter finally gets the upper hand and manages to defeat the Scorpion. He asks him who hired him. Was it Tombstone? The Scorpion says he'll tell him nothing after everything that he did to him. The Scorpion is taken into custody, and Peter still can't help wondering who's behind this. We cut the next day, where Peter meets up with Gwen, and she tells him something, that Harry told her not to talk to him, but she wants to be with Peter, but just as friends. Maybe later. If Harry's okay with it, they can take the jump, and Peter nods, and they hold hands. As the episode ends. Thank you everyone for watching. I do hope you all enjoyed the episode. I am planning to rehash all the stories from Season 3, but be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment.